Okay, hi, my name is Missy Allan. I'm a junior studying public policy. I'm going to talk to you about microfinance at the Hope Project, and anyone who knows me knows that I could talk to you about this for quite a few hours, so doing it in 10 minutes is going to be kind of rough. This is actually my second time. I don't know, can everyone hear if I, go over here? All right. This is actually my second time at this NGO. I was first able to go here in the summer of 2009 with the program at the University GIU. So my second time, obviously with the Center for South Asian Studies, so thanks a lot for your funding to make this possible. So yeah, so the project was aimed to study the women's income generation and thrift and credit program that is currently in place at this NGO in Delhi. And so there's kind of like three parts to it. The first part is an observation of the performance of the current program. The second part would be kind of like field work, hands-on kind of thing that was done primarily through conducting interviews. And the third part is a collaboration with the finance department at the Hope Project and other notable members of the community to see what next steps can be taken. So some community background, we're talking about Basti Nizamuddin. As Iman mentioned, a Basti can be maybe roughly translated as a slum. We're talking about an area that's maybe 99.9% Muslim, and it's highly impoverished. There's a high refugee population, people from Bangladesh, people from Afghanistan. There are also people from other rural parts of India that are coming in, and also some historical residents. So the whole project was founded in 1980, and the goal was to help the poor help themselves. And they're kind of the only functioning health clinic, school, and mini bank kind of center in this community. So like I said, school, they run a school for young primary age children. They have a nursery for younger kids, and many of the women who are employed there can actually send their children to that nursery. Some photos. Education, they have a girls' non-formal school. The two on the right you see are from Afghanistan. And yeah, because a lot of girls in this community don't have access to any formal schooling. So the whole project is providing them with that. And health, you can see that the living conditions are pretty unsanitary. There's no proper sanitation system in place. So their health clinic is a really large benefit to this community. Something new that they started this year was an eye clinic, which I thought was excellent, especially that little girl wearing glasses. So yeah, income generation, my project. So yeah, like I already explained the goals, we want to talk about how this microfinance institute at the Hope Project is actually impacting the lives of women in the community. And we want to see if there's any possible investment opportunities from outside donors, outside sources, and maybe some program expansion. So what is microfinance? Like, this is so broad in general. But basically, if you don't know what it is, it's kind of like financial services that are offered to the poor and to low-income people who would traditionally be excluded from financial services. So loans, credit, savings. If you go to a bank and they're like, you don't have any money, so actually we're not going to give you a loan. So microfinance, it's that. And so how it works at the Hope Project, you have the Hope Project, like the chief NGO. You have their finance department, which oversees everything. You have the Microfinance Institute. The woman that I worked with very closely throughout my time there, Zeba Baji, she's head of the Microfinance Institute. And then you have 52 self-help groups is what they call them, who make up over 600 women being served in the community. So the women are organized into smaller groups, and they, it's like this hierarchy that you can see. So, like I said, they're organized into groups. Each group elects a president, and that groups meet monthly with Zeba and the MFI at the Hope Project. And so the president kind of is the one to do all formal financial dealings with Zeba. And so, like, some examples, like each group member could roughly save anywhere from 50 rupees to 500 rupees a month, which is anywhere from $1 to $10 a month. That was what I saw typically. And so doing it in a group setting encourages loan accountability. And like what I mean by that is that women are more likely to repay loans on time and to less likely to default on loans. And when they realize like that delinquency and this kind of thing like will have negative effects on their peers who are in their group, because the savings of their group members are making up the loan base. So some bookkeeping. This is like what I did so much of, like bookkeeping, like adding up monthly savings and loan repayment, and also like interest that was gained. So the drawbacks to this, they're recorded in like 5 different places. So you record it in a group book, you record it in the women's account book, then you record it in a ledger. This is the ledger for a particular group, and we're on Ronnie Yassine's page. And then you record it finally into a cash book, and then it's then again recorded finally by Zeba into a computer system. So some drawbacks to this are that there are 4 places for people to make mathematical errors before it actually goes into the computer. And obviously the concerns are that the power in India is, as everyone knows, like it goes off. So I mean, like you don't want your whole system to crash, but we talked about maybe this idea of like maybe let's enter it in the computer system first and then go back and back it up with records. It's possible, but so interviews. Interviewed about 4 groups, Naz, Hina, Aruj, and Nida, and the only ones I'm going to talk about are Naz and Aruj because that's pretty much all I have time for. But the questions asked were how has being involved in this group changed the way you or others around you view yourself, and would you make any improvements to this program? And obviously we recorded additional comments. And so here's a screenshot of Naz group. I'll give you some background on them. They're very, very poor, come from a very poor part of the Basti. They are the ones they're married the youngest in the community. The community is relatively small, so everyone kind of knows everyone. And they're married at about age 16 usually. And so we found that loans for them were primarily given out for medical emergencies and for weddings. So the woman in the middle and what you see is Zeba, who I worked with. And so so here are some screenshots of the footage, and we were able to get some feedback from them, and we found out that the majority of the time they're paying an interest rate of about 2% on the loans that they're taking out, and that's so it's like exponentially less to any rate that a money lender would give, upwards of 8% to 90%. We heard from money lenders, and so obviously because there's no regulation in that market, so they were taking out those loans, and we were fortunate enough to be there at a time when they're getting their dividends from the interest that they had paid, and so these women in particular were using their dividends to pay back loans and maybe kind of put some more into savings. And so this woman here on the left just told us, like, basically we're illiterate here. None of us in this group are able to read or write, so we're putting all of our trust in the whole project and this organization. And so also what we found, one more thing that we found with them was that the real question, like how has this program changed the way that you or your family or others in the community have seen you? And so the women were answering this, and they were saying, yeah, my husband still reads my account book every month. And so there were some other volunteers, some other Western volunteers, and people were like, oh, you still read your account book every month? I mean, like, this isn't doing anything. And so I mean, I think you just obviously you have to approach it from the standpoint that, okay, he still reads the account book, but the fact of the matter is that, like, this woman now has access to loans at a very low interest rate, and so let's say their daughter wants to get married, she now has like a pawn to put in the game to be like, yeah, I have access to these loans, so I'm actually gonna step up and say, no, I don't want this, no, this. So that's actually something that's really excellent that we found. So Urge Group. Last group, I don't know if you can tell, but like the atmosphere of Urge Group is like totally different. Everyone's kind of lively. Some background on them is so I said there are 52 groups. They're one of 7 groups who have their own bank account at Punjab National Bank, the bank that they use, and so one of 7, and so this means that they can conduct all their financial happenings without consultation from the whole project. The only thing that they have to consult the whole project for is to issue loans. And so they're from an area that's like kind of far away from whole project. They're much better off socially, economically. And so we found that the most common loans that were given to them were for property and for entrepreneurship, small business. And so we also have a screenshot here of Salima. She's the owner of Nizamuddin's Salon, and so she talked to us about how she was able to take out a loan and open up a salon in the Bustee. And she was very like hesitant to describe it to us. She was saying that she like took out a loan that's over 1 lakh rupees, so it's very expensive, and but she's slowly paying it back, and she's was very happy that the interest that she was paying back was going to be paid back to her group. And we talked to them about, so like, what are you guys going to do with your dividend? And they were actually like, oh, we want to we want to organize a trip to Agra, to the Taj Mahal. So you can just kind of see the difference in like what they're able to do with their dividend, because they're taking out loans that are bigger, they're paying more interest on those. And so I guess this is basically what traditional microfinance would be, like the entrepreneurship aspect of it. And so, like I said, answers varied upon the standing of the groups that we talked to. And so I guess like now we're coming to this conclusion of like, so what? So like, what can we do? And so I mean, what I would say is that it's a really malleable program. Like it's tailored to fit a lot of backgrounds and situations. Like some women, they might need to take out a loan to pay for their husband's surgery, or this woman can take out a loan to buy a piece of property. So I mean, yeah. So what we decided was that there's the 7 groups that have their own account, and it would be really excellent if members of those 7 groups, those women, could train other women in the community to kind of take that next step, maybe take an entrepreneurial risk. And obviously there's, a lot of fear in the community to taking these kind of risks. When you're already in a low standing in a community, it's hard to kind of put yourself on the line even more. And so here you just see a photo of the woman on the left is Faiza, and she is actually a young member. She's another woman that I worked with at the MFI. This is her daughter, and she's actually tutoring a woman from Nas group in literacy. She's teaching her how to read Hindi. So, I mean, building literacy is obviously key. So, yeah. And obviously, thanks to everyone.